Good morning. Welcome to Iheart Tourism for Marietta and Washington County. This is our second annual training, our second annual Iheart training. Last year went so well, and the participants got so much out of it that we agreed to bring this training again. And we felt like there was so much we did not cover in the first. Now, as luck would have it, there are no repeat customers so far yet today. So you guys are going to learn something all new, and I was hoping we'd get some repeat people too, since we're going to do all new content in this year's iHeart. I am Jerry Knowlton. I'm the Executive Director of the Marietta Washington County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and it's my task to promote the area as a distinctive destination. And guess what? Being frontline people, it's your task too. So what I'd like to do is go around the room and everyone introduce themselves and tell me where you are from in terms of your business and your favorite vacation.
Okay, well, I'll introduce myself. My name is Kevin Pasquich. I'm the co-owner of Pasquich Entertainment. Let's see, what, my favorite vacation?
Your favorite vacation?
Okay, London is beautiful, so I will be going back there as soon as I can.
Okay.
I'll turn around so you can see me. I'm Mona Barrett, and I'm owner of Sweet Apple Farm, and that's right here in Washington County. We do many spring and fall school tours. We do a corn maze, hay rides. We have our big Mother's Day event coming up, which is a small animal, baby animals, and people bring gifts for people to be given to the Washington County, I'm not the name of it, but anyway, a food pantry, and they distribute those things. And we have weddings, which we never thought about doing that on the farm, and that's been working out. And we have a farmhouse that we rent out. And my favorite vacation, I would say, would have had to been to the state of Washington, and we went on up into Canada, and that was just fantastic. Thank you.
My name's Joshua Fury. I'm the front desk supervisor at the Fairfield here in Marietta. My favorite vacation would have been Busch Gardens in Virginia.
My name is Samantha Skinner. I work at Comfort Suites as a front desk agent, and my favorite vacation would have had to been the cruise I took with my school to the Bahamas.
My name is Cindy Shepard, and I am with the Convention and Visitors Bureau in Parkersburg. My favorite vacation would have to be Cozumel. Not much of a beach person, but it's beautiful there. I'm Courtney Willis. I'm the teller supervisor at Huntington Bay and here in Marietta, and my favorite vacation probably has to be Cancun, Mexico.
I'm Katie Solfridge. I'm the new director with Marietta Main Street, and I really had to stop and think long and hard about when the last time was I took so my favorite one recently was a very spontaneous trip up to the Poconos in Pennsylvania. I won some tickets to kind of go behind the scenes to the NASCAR race up there, and we then decided to make a big weekend and went to Punxsutawney and Gettysburg, and it was absolutely not planned out, and it was wonderful.
Hi, I'm Denny Huggins with Campus Marshes and the River Museum, and I've been there just a short period of time. And my favorite vacation was a photo safari last year into South Africa.
I'm Gail Ritchie. I'm also with Campus Marshes and the Ohio River Museum. I've been there on and off a little bit since 2009. And my favorite vacation is going to be a long ways away because my husband and I got to spend 6 weeks in Australia in 2002, and it was marvelous.
Bill?
Okay, I'm Bill Bennett with Super 8 of Crest Street here. And I guess my favorite one was Rolling Thunder in DC. It's a big motorcycle thing. There's over 1 million bikes there.
Nice.
I'm Sarah Bird. I'm with in Marietta, and My favorite vacation was when I went to Alaska with my oldest son to visit my parents who were there for a few months.
I'm Melissa Rohr, and I'm one of the co-op artists at Riverside Artist Gallery. And my favorite vacation is sort of 50-50, Sturbridge Village in Massachusetts or Galveston Island off of Texas. Can't make up my mind.
So I'm going to let my staff introduce themselves to you and explain what role they play at the Visitor Bureau, and if you guys would tell us your favorite vacation too. Christian.
I'm Christian Hudspeth. I'm the Public Relations Social Media Coordinator for the Visitors Bureau. I handle all of our press releases, deal with WTAP and the other news outlets outside of the area. I also run our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest pages. So if you guys need any help with social media or you have a story you want to get out, I'm the guy you want to speak to. You can obviously go through Shannon to do that. And no question, Disney World is the best place on earth.
Shannon, how about you?
All right. So I'm Shannon Beach, and I'm the group tour and member relations coordinator. So I wear two hats. So to describe my group tour part, I'm the point of contact for groups wanting to come into Marietta. So people on buses, reunions, things like that. So I tell them what's new, what's there to do, where to eat, group tour friendly wise. I also plan itineraries for them. I schedule it out. I tell them how to come into town, where to stay. I also, Jerry and I both go to group tour shows and promote the area as a distinctive destination tour for groups. On the member relations side, I'm the person that's always sending out like a trillion emails to all of you guys. I'm the one always bugging you. So it's my job to make sure all of you guys, know what's going on, keep you informed. You guys, I'm the point of contact for all of you as well. So, if you ever have, want rack cards done, you contact me, then I, tell them what to do. Until recently, I did deliver guides, so you probably saw me out a lot in rack cards. I do visitor guide, the directory, I sell ads. So I do a lot of things.
Yes. And your favorite vacation, Shannon?
Oh yeah, probably Myrtle Beach.
My name is Tori Watkins. I'm an information specialist. I actually recently just started here in January. I answer any questions that visitors have. I will deliver visitor guides, fill up rack card stands, just basically help the visitors out with whatever they need help with.
And the beloved signboard, don't you?
Yes, I do the signboard. If you ever want to use the signboard, you contact me. And my favorite vacation would probably be Panama City, Florida.
Where's your signboard?
The signboards are those signs at Route 7, at Big Lots and Rinky Dinks, and the one at Ewing School. We are the point of contact for those signboards, and so if you want to rent those out, they rent by the week. They're $10 a week with a $10 deposit, and it is honestly our favorite thing in the world to do.
Yes, it's Tori.
There was an element of sarcasm and facetiousness in that.
Well, I know it's a lot of work to put those up. So if you need help, call me and I'll come help you.
Actually, it's the
with letters.
responsibility of the person who puts
Rents
the,
it?
yes, to
Oh,
put the
okay.
sign up or take the
Okay.
sign down. So, Nathan, who are you?
I'm the multimedia coordinator for the CVB. I do things like the website, designing things, also graphic design, of course, but designing rack cards, be working on the visitors' guides, maps, photography, videography, a whole line of different things like that. So if you have any needs that fall into those categories, I'll be the person you'll be working with.
And your favorite vacation?
That would, of course, be Hawaii on our honeymoon.
So when we think about the vacations that people took in this room, almost all of them require an element of planning beyond a week. Would that be true for most of you? Except for Katie, who came right out and said it was very spur of the moment. And that's the difference between a vacation and a getaway. And the one thing that we try to be very distinct about in how we deal with promoting the area as a distinctive destination is that we are a great getaway. You don't have to plan for 6 months, you don't have to save for 6 years, but you could actually make a decision to come to the Mid-Ohio Valley in a very short period of time. And we know that the decision-making funnel process for travelers coming to this area is very short. And sometimes they make that decision right on the highway, as quick as they can be 20 miles up the road and decide that this is the place that they're going to stop. So the big question is, how do I get them out of Bill's hotel and into Marietta, out into Washington County, and enjoying what's going on? Because as you will learn, we know that the more time that people spend here, the more money they spend. The other thing we also know is that once we get people here and exploring the area, they fall in love with the Mid-Ohio Valley and they can't wait to come back. And so our return visitation rate is absolutely incredible. We're very fortunate. I have sister cities all along the Ohio River who would, number one, kill to be along Interstate 77. That uniquely positions us, but also to have the kind of return visitation rate that we do. So I'm going to be somewhat nimble this morning because I am expecting a speaker who may, from a restaurant, and he may have to dart in and dart out, and in order for him to keep running his restaurant, right? So I will ask for your patience on that part. Otherwise, we're going to go according to plan, and if he shows up, we'll weave him in, and then we'll say goodbye and let him go do the lunch crowd. Sound good? Okay. So I think the most important question we can ask ourselves is customer service important to our business? Mona, do you think it's important to your business?
Most certainly.
How about yours?
Yes.
Right? How about at the bank? Is customer service important?
Yeah, that's the only reason we're there.
Right? At museums, is it important?
Oh, yes.
Tori, is it important at the Visitor Bureau?
Yes.
Yeah. Right? So it's so important to our business, but how much attention is paid by your business to making sure that you have the skills and tools that you need in order to provide excellent customer service? And certainly your managers, supervisors, whoever sent you here today felt that this was important. And so big kudos to them, right? For allowing you to come and take part in all of this. Because really at the end of the day, we have something to give. And it's a whole lot of impact on your store and your hotel and your downtown and your bank and your farm and your entertainment business. It affects all of us. And we are tied to one another, right? And so what this is all about is us trying to explain to you what is at the heart of travel and tourism in Marietta and Washington County and what we have to give, but also you giving back in that way as well. You telling us what you enjoy doing. I know that Bill loves to go ride on a motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
What kind of motorcycle?
I have a VTX 1300.
Which means nothing to me, but I know he loves it.
It's a big cruiser.
I know he loves it, right? And so if Bill were to come into your place of business, would you know what to do with him? And so we need to be able to understand what it is he enjoys doing, but also the peripheral things that he enjoys doing along, because that's not the only thing Bill's going to want to do when he comes into our county. So we have something to give. When we talk about the heart of travel and tourism industry, it is very well represented in this room, right? We have recreation, we have food, gas, retail trade, beverage, all of that, entertainment, all of those things make up the heart of the tourism industry here in Marietta and Washington County. But I think we all have a pretty darn good idea of what our expectations are for customer service, right? I think we all have an opinion of what makes it good and what makes it great and what makes it lousy. So, how would you define customer service?
Well, I know that I've learned on the PBS, Mr. Suffrage, they have this news show, and he's the one who started out, the customer's always right. And at Sweet Apple Farm, we teach our employees, if they don't know the answer, to come get one of us, and then try to get the person to us. And then if we have questions, we get the answer to them one way or the other. And if we need to, we call them or email them or whatever. So I think that they need to know that you're willing to talk to them and let them know, and always be teaching about everything that we do, because that's our whole thing, Experience the Farm.
Sarah, what do you think makes good customer service?
Listening to the customers, figuring out what their needs are, and helping them achieve those needs.
Katie?
Well, it's Main Street. We don't have traditional customers, but my philosophy is to listen and to respond. Those are two important elements to customer service, and it might take more than, I might be able to answer somebody's question in a 30-second phone call, or it might take me a week to fully answer somebody's question, but to keep the communication going is what's important.
What about you, Courtney? Is it any different at the bank?
Not really, it's pretty much all those, like good communication, looking out for customer, following up on their questions, getting their needs, making sure that you assist them with everything that they came in for.
What else? Any other ideas in the room? What makes good customer service? Okay, so like I can't remember your name already.
Samantha.
Samantha. It's right here, girl.
I was always taught that good customer service and great customer service is very similar, but the difference is anticipating what someone wants before they ask for it. That's the difference between good and great.
Good answer.
I ask them, I often ask people when they come into the gallery if they are from out of town, if they're from the area or they're from out of town, and kind of get a little rapport going with them. And so it really is amazing how many people come in to the gallery who are from out of town. And I forget what else I was going to say.
Building a rapport is really important to
Yeah.
customer service too. You kind of have to gauge the customer, don't you?
Yes, one thing that we do have, and I sort of have taken over that role, is I welcome people when they come in, when we have the big things open to the public. And we have a big signboard there, tells what time the pig races are, tells what time everything is. I point that out. But I also point out the garden, fairy tale garden, and the nursery rhyme garden, so that those with children, I kind of like see what ages they are and everything. And I think that makes a big difference, because many people come over and say goodbye to me personally on their way out. Hey, we had a good time, and we love the pig races or whatever. So, I mean, that's been one of our big things, is that we tell everybody welcome.
So I agree with you. I think that's critically important. And it's one of the first things, if not the first thing I do when I'm dealing with the traveling public, is say, welcome to Marietta. And then the next thing I want to know is, where are you from? And then it helps us move into a conversation about what it is they want to explore while they're here. Yeah, Bill?
It's making the guests feel like they're at home.
Right.
Because you get people that are on the road, they come into a strange hotel. And I've been to some of these hotels, you walk in and they're very cold.
Mm-hmm.
We try to get the people to enjoy themselves. Let them know that they're welcome, you're part of the family type of thing.
Now, just to clarify, is there a difference between your hotel and his hotel? Is your customer primarily leisure or business?
It's about 60-40.
60/40, and yours is?
Mostly business.
Mostly business, and tell me your name again. Josh, Samantha, Sarah, Melissa, Josh, Samantha, Sarah, Melissa.
So you're, in other words, so when they come, you're telling them where the ice machines are, where they can find the machines
Yeah,
and
excellent
restaurants.
point.
and-
Does the business customer have a different expectation from the leisure customer?
Yeah.
By the time they reach Melissa, maybe not so much, but in this situation, very different, right?
Yes and no. They're all looking for the same basic stuff. The business customer is there for business, naturally, but they come in with a different mindset.
I'm coming in thinking, how quick can I tap into communication?
Exactly. Well,
Because I've been on the road for X amount of time, and the first thing I need to do is get tapped back into what I haven't been able to be tapped into for however long I've been on the road.
usually a business customer is a single person.
Mm-hmm.
Leisure, you got families,
Right.
and that makes a
Or
big difference.
couples.
Well, they're looking at it from a little bit different standpoint than the businessman does. So far as what their needs are at the hotel, and what their needs are from a customer service standpoint.
Right. So we're going to welcome Tony Steyer, Marietta Brewing Company. Just so happens to be on the cover of the visitor guide this year, the getaway guide, FYI. And Tony, we're going to rope you in here real quick. We're talking about defining good customer service. What do you think defines good customer service? And then tell us the best vacation you've ever had.
Oh, I don't get to take vacations.
There has to be one.
I mean, Disney World, of course. You talk about a place that has great customer service. As a business person myself, when I went there, kids were all about the costumed characters and all that, but as a business person looking at what Disney does as a business model, it is amazing. Yeah. So that was kind of fun for me, even though I couldn't separate myself from work. I'm still thinking about all the things that was going on in the
And it goes
experience.
back to that whole concept of anticipating need, right? Disney does a great job of managing expectations and anticipating need.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Right? I've never been there, I just read about that a lot.
One thing I meant to mention is when people come to the gallery and whether or not they buy anything, like I said, I kind of get that rapport going with them. Then I find out, kind of get a feel for what they're interested in, and I often recommend other areas in town they might go to when I kind of figure out what their interests are.
We call that in our office connecting assets, connecting the dots for people. Because it's so important. If we want to extend the stay, if we want the customer to see all there is and to give them a reason to want to come back, we need to connect the dots for them. And listen, we're all in this together. My vitality depends on your vitality. Your success depends on my success. We all need each other, okay? So if we're not doing everything we can to push people out into these wonderful things going on in our communities, we're doing a huge disservice to each other, okay? So, I was gonna change the slide. I think this one's easier to define. What is bad customer service? Because we all have an opinion about bad customer service, right? FYI, I hate to be called honey. Hate it.
I'm so glad I know that now.
That's going to come back to haunt me. What do you think is bad customer service, Bill?
Bad customer service, it's just not meeting the customer's needs, not meeting the guest's needs.
Now I got to remember your name too.
Gail.
Gail, what do you think is bad customer service?
not venturing out and saying something, welcoming them and trying to assist them. If you approach them and say something, they will respond or ask their question. If you see them just kind of looking around like they're lost, you need to ask them if you can help them or if they need something.
What else? What are your customer service pet peeves?
Ignoring your customer.
Yeah.
And that's pretty common, not at Tony's Place, but at a lot of restaurants. We almost walked out of one in Parkersburg last week because the waitress just never came back.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's anticipating need, right?
Well, it's all about not
Recurring
meeting
theme.
the expectations
Yeah.
of the service that the customer's expecting.
Right. I absolutely hate to go through a drive-through and someone hand me a drink and there's drink all over the outside of the cup. Drives me insane. Is that good customer service? There is nothing nice about that. There's nothing respectful about that. Here I am, in my work attire, in my work day, and you're gonna hand me stickiness? No, it's not nice.
Well, what about in their bare hands, they're taking your money, and then they get the lid, they put it on with their hand. You can tell we serve food.
Yeah, right? Anything else, Shannon? What else is bad customer service?
Being rude.
Yeah, someone having a bad day.
Yeah, really taking it on the customer. No matter what day, what you're having, you need to wipe it off and just act like everything's good.
Yeah. Employee conflict, where should that take place? Yeah, behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
The alley out back.
In the alley out back, yeah. Yeah, speaking of drive-throughs, how many of you have gone through Taco Bell? And the guy who takes your money is a fantastic personality. He's always in a great mood. And then you get to the next window and it is the complete opposite. What is the difference?
Attitude.
How much stress they're under, maybe.
Could be stress, yeah, sure. I'll give him that. I think he just enjoys talking to people every day. Excellent person to be in that position. I almost invited him to come be a speaker. How do you get up every day and be in such a good mood? Right? So I had this boss once and she said, I don't care what kind of mood you're in, put your lipstick on and smile. And that's what it takes. Some days. Okay, Tony, we're gonna slip you in here because I know you have to dart. So you are welcome to come up and Tony, one of the things we were going to concentrate on today is arts and culture in our community, and we're gonna get there, I promise. We're gonna let Tony get up and share with you what's going on at the brewery and other places, and then we'll let him leave and go get ready for lunch.
Yay.
Take it away, kiddo.
Oh. All right, so you're wanting to know what's going on at the brewery. I just got here, so I know you. I don't know you. I don't know you. Who's here with the hotels? Okay. I'm Tony. I'm from the Marriott Brewing Company. What's your name?
I'm Josh, I'm from Fairfield.
Okay.
Samantha from Comfort Suites.
Sweet.
Bill Bennett with Super 8.
Sweet. Well, nice to meet you guys. On the weekends, we do host arts and entertainment. We try to, we're a full service restaurant 7 days a week. We serve lunch and dinner. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, we always try to have something going on for the community, whether it's for the locals or if it's for people out of town. When I go somewhere out of town, I like to have something different to experience. And so what we're doing at the brewery is we are kind of mixing up our entertainment, where we used to always do live music Friday and Saturday, and it was the same thing every weekend. Now we're just kind of scaling it back. We're doing live music every Saturday. We're bringing in acts from Columbus, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and local acts as well. So Friday nights we're doing this new feature. Actually, this Friday is our second time doing it. It's called Art on Tap, where we're featuring local artists. So at 9 p.m., rather than having a live musician there, we have a local artist, whether it's local or regional, showcasing, doing like a pop-up display where you walk in. 2 weeks ago, Bobby Rosenstock from Just a Jar, he does the woodcuts of the posters. His stuff was amazing. And he actually ended up selling like 25 prints between 9 p.m. and midnight. Of course, when people are drinking, they like to spend money on stuff. So he came in kind of a little pessimistic that he would make any sales, because it's I'm not paying the artist and he's not paying me anything. It's we're in this together kind of feel. It's kind of like I'm trying to create the late night coffee shop feeling where I want people to drink and enjoy themselves, but I don't want it to be rowdy, without disrespect to other establishments in the community. I don't want it to be that. So we're trying to create that feeling where Friday nights, we're calling it, what do we decide on the name? Vinyl night. So we have a turntable up front. We're spinning all, records, whether it's new music, old music. Bring in what you want to hear if you have your own vinyl. It's kind of a neat feeling where that's not happening around here right now. Also game night. Friday night's also game night where we have board games, Cards Against Humanity. I'm sure you guys have heard of that game. So all kinds of cool things. And of course Thursday night's trivia night where it's a live hosted trivia, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It's free to play, prizes to win. I feel like I'm just
What's your demographic, Tony? Who's interested in that?
Man, it's a really weird demographic. Everybody is. The target age is anywhere from 25 to 40, I would say, as far as the arts are concerned. But when we did our first arts night, I mean, we had everyone up to, I don't know, how old's Roger Coulter? He's a dinosaur these days, I don't know. But it appealed to everybody, and that's kind of, we're doing it from 9 o'clock to midnight, so it's not too late. We also don't want it to go too early where the Merchants and Artists Walks are happening the second Friday of each month. So it's kind of go out and walk and see other artists and then come in after that, have a drink. Kitchen's open until 10, maybe grab a bite to eat. But Saturday nights, the demographic for a brewery is really quite a wide range where we have something to offer just about every age group.
And who has eaten at the brewery? Who knows and enjoys this? Okay.
Only one guy said he enjoyed it. Thanks, Dad.
A couple of you need to get out. And could you tell them what a woodcut is? Maybe
a woodcut. And that's the other thing. Bobby. So what he does is we've had him create art for our beer, for each beer product that we have, because as a brewery we make our own beer. So he takes a sketch and he's able to take that and cut it into a piece of wood. He's got multiple wood blocks that he uses, and then he takes that and puts it on an old letterpress, like from the 50s or 60s, and he's able to take that image and create a unique piece of artwork with it. And he's done work for all kinds of national artists. I mean, I'm talking Willie Nelson, Soundgarden, plus his own creative stuff that he sells. It's a pretty unique thing that you don't see anymore these days.
He's got an Etsy shop. You can find him online.
His website, justajar.com. He's on Facebook, Twitter. His Instagram's pretty neat too. He'll take pictures of his carvings as he's doing it. We've done 5 posters with him so far. It's a process we started back in October, September. We're eventually going to have all of our beer products done through him. He's got a really unique style, and trying to get everyone to use them. Him and his wife Sarah, teaches at the college, graphic design. So she's able to take his art and turn it into digital media, so you can use it on social media. You can make T-shirts, stickers, all kinds of stuff. So part of the Red, White, and Brews festival with Main Street, and we're using him to use that to help create more of a brand, if you will.
Before we move into Red, White, and Brews, a person who eats at the brewery also enjoys like the outdoors, or
Oh,
yeah. What?
I didn't know where you're going with that.
The atmosphere.
Just trying to figure out again who your client is, who your customer is.
We tip into everybody. I'm real good buddies with Ryan Smith, who owns the Marietta Adventure Company. And he has really created quite the outdoor destination here in Marietta. Everything you see, Marietta had before, but he's done a really good job of taking it to the next level. We have 20 miles of single track mountain biking trails within the city limits itself. You're driving down Glendale Avenue, you don't even know there's trails in the woods and people are riding their bikes through there. But those people speak to me as well. People who are outdoorsmen, kayaking, bicycling, they like to come for a nice cold local brew when they're done with that. We do Monday night bike nights when it's not snowing outside. And we do that with the Adventure Company, where there's group rides. You can go with Ryan or whoever's leading the ride into the woods and ride, or they do road rides. And then when they're done, they come to our place and have some pizza and drink some beer. That's kind of a cool thing we just started last year.
And you kind of have a really strong business clientele during lunch, right?
Yeah, our lunch, when we first bought the place 5 years ago, my wife and I own it, lunch was real kind of, we even thought about not being open for lunch. It was not good. But we were able to build up that crowd, and we got a lot of the downtown offices come in to eat, a lot of the oil and gas guys come in to eat for lunch. And we do a lot of takeout as well. Call ahead, we'll have it ready to go. We do a lot of catering as well to the polymer plants out Route 7, to the hospital. And speaking, I saw the scenic
Driving tour.
We get a lot of motorcycles too.
Bill likes to hear that, right, Bill?
Yeah, a lot of motorcycles come through, and it's kind of cool because they're not necessarily into the local beer. They're just they just gravitate to our spot just because of the atmosphere.
Because I send them there.
Oh, there you go. There you go. But it's a cool hub. I love the brewery. I like, you know, when I bought it, even before I bought it, I dreamed of having a place that the attorney, the college kid, the doctor, the hipster, you know, everyone could sit there and drink a beer, enjoy some time together, and no one puts their nose down or up or whatever they do to each other. It's kind of a cool little spot. So if you haven't been there, come check us out. We're trying our best to support the local arts and entertainment. This week we have Anthony Wilson, Friday night. Wilson Portraits, he does pencil portraits. And I'm not talking like the cartoon characters you see on the boardwalk when you're walking down on, you know, wherever you are. He does intricate, amazing, you give him a picture of whatever you want drawn, whether it's a picture of you and your wife, or your children, or whatever, trees, I don't know. And he'll take it, and he gets real into it, and I had him do one of my wife and I maybe 3 years ago for our anniversary, and it's hanging on our wall today. Probably something that our kids will fight over when we are long and gone, you know. So, and then we have Joe, I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm not even going to try. Do you know who I'm talking about? Joe Rish, somebody, what's his last name? Redheaded guy. I can't pronounce his last name for the life of me. I didn't even try to get him. But he's from Oregon, but he moved here with his wife. He has 2 kids. He skateboards, he plays music, he's an artist. So we'll have him on display next month, and Lee Cox as well. So, any other questions?
Any other questions for Tony that you would like to know about the brewery?
Now, do you sell any other drinks besides beer?
Yeah, we're a full bar. We have beer,
Let me
wine.
step off camera.
We have beer, wine, spirits. Another cool thing that we do actually is we have local spirits. We have vodka, bourbon, gin from right here made in Ohio. So our former brewer, Kelly Sauber, he has his own distillery in Athens County now. And we've got 2 or 3 products from him. There's another one, there's 2 in Columbus, Ohio, and Watershed. And we take those spirits and we've created a local Ohio cocktail menu. All kinds of cool things on that, from simple, just a gin and tonic made with a local gin, to this one called Surely You're Mistaken, which is a stone fruit vodka that Ohio makes. And we take that, basically make a Shirley Temple, but it's not non-alcoholic. So that's a cool thing that we do.
Also, and whoever the designated driver is, they get free pop. Or
Yeah,
you
sure.
have to make your own root beer.
We do make our own root beer, absolutely. We do encourage responsible, and we'll call it taxi for you. I hate irresponsibility when it comes to drinking and driving, so, yeah.
So what I would like to point out in addition to this is that the big box name brand restaurants, there's not a thing in the world wrong with them. You can find them in any town. This is your locally owned and operated restaurant. This is a man with a wife and 2 kids. And so when you send people into, not only are they getting local flavor, but you're supporting your neighbor too.
Yeah. Not only that, but this is my job. This is what I do for a living. I'm not this global whatever. I'm not a millionaire. My chef makes more money than I do. My wife and I put our heart and soul into it. We're there. I'm there 6, 7 days a week. Everything is made fresh. It's not frozen stuff that's highly just, I'm not going to call anybody out, but if you go to a chain restaurant, most of those things are already prepped up, come in on a truck, frozen, ready to just pop in the microwave and get done. We hand patty our meat, our pizzas, good gravy. Pizzas are good. If you haven't had our pizza, we hand make our own dough. We hand slice our own cheese. We make our own sauces. Everything is done real fresh, as fresh as can be. And the cool thing about that is we have the volume. We're so busy that we're able to keep it fresh. There's no worrying about that stuff going bad.
No preservatives.
We're flying through it like crazy. So.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you open from lunchtime through dinner time with no closing in between?
Correct. We believe in consistency.
Okay.
Unlike a lot of places. We open at 11 a.m. Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
And our kitchen is open 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday, and 8 p.m. on Sunday. So we are open 7 days a week, lunch and dinner. Don't close at all until that final bell. And then the bar stays open a little later after the kitchen closes.
Okay, and if they're traveling with children, children are fine too?
Children are absolutely welcome. We have high chairs, we have a kids menu. I have children, like I said myself, so that's something that I'm always looking for when I'm out traveling is, can I take my rambunctious son in there with me? I know my daughter will be just fine anywhere, but my 2-year-old son is.
Yeah. I'm at the museum, and often people will go partially through the museum and then tell me they need to leave for lunch and they'll be back, which they do, but they need to know places to go.
Yeah.
And there's so many restaurants with different times
Right.
that they're open, that's where I get concerned. Am I sending them the one that's still open, or am I sending them the one that's closed right now and will open again later?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I've been in restaurants for a long, long time, and that's always been something that I've really been upset about is consistency. And that's the thing why I think our lunches have been so successful is we try to be consistent and we try to get people in and out when it comes to lunchtime. So.
And I would tell you that I would be very comfortable sending a family there. It's not a seedy bar.
Oh, no, I know that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a comfortable environment that you could send a family into.
Yeah, and that's the thing about breweries. You know, when you're going out of town, if you go to a brew pub, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a place that is welcoming to children and families, and you know it's going to be good food because they take pride. It's making beer is not just something you're not just dumping stuff in and mixing it up. It takes pride and it takes time, and we show that in our food that we make, and that's why not only because I like beer and I like breweries, but that's one of the reasons why I always look for the local brewery to go to. When I go to Columbus, I'm always eating at Columbus Brewing Company or Barley's or the Smokehouse. There's all kinds of places out of town that have their own breweries. So.
Any other questions for Tony? Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Sid.
So, what I would like you to do, how many of you have your smartphone with you? Pull that bad boy out, and I want you to search your business. And specifically, what I want you to be looking at is, what is the customer saying about you on TripAdvisor and on Yelp? Because the next question is, when we're talking about customer service, does it matter? Does that good customer service matter? What gets said about you?
Keyboard cowboys. That's what I call them.
There's definitely some of that. There's definitely some of that, right? Where there's suddenly this social empowerment to be able to voice your opinion anytime in whatever social media format that you like.
And just because there's some sort of entitlement. I'm all about TripAdvisor. I like what it does. If you look us up, we have pretty good reviews on there. But there are some people, Yelp especially, that if they have a bad experiences are going to happen. Mm-hmm. We deal with hundreds of people a day. We're not going to bat 1,000. Something's going to go wrong. That's how you handle that situation and whether or not you can maintain that relationship with the customer. But, you know, we've had reviews, whether it's on Facebook, whatever, where people are they're just mad. They're just pissed for no reason. And they leave, and I'm right there. I have no idea that they had a bad experience because they didn't ask to talk to me. They visibly seemed okay, and the server didn't show any concern that they were having a bad tip. But, you know, I read something that's as simple as the food was not cooked the way out, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we could have took care of that while you were here. I could have fixed the problem and made you happy while you were here. That's my only beef with those things. Other than that, there's only been a handful of those. But.
And we're going to do a training next month, right, Shannon? Next month, April 12th, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
On TripAdvisor and Yelp and how to manage your online presence. Because what we see on our end is a lot of people who handle their social media presence the right way, and then we see some mistakes too. And so how do you manage that? How do you manage that when something like that happens? But really what I wanted to do from a frontline perspective is just raise your awareness that, you know, it is so accessible, and it could make the difference when I go into a town, when you go into a town, and you're looking for a new place to eat, and you're looking at those reviews, it can make a difference whether or not I'm staying in your hotel and eating at your restaurant, based off of what these people have said. And so this is another way that your customer service matters. Okay? Does stellar customer service come natural? What do you think, Tony? You manage a lot of people.
Natural? In some people it does, but it takes some coaching. It definitely takes some.
So can it be trained?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can the customer service be better than it is right now?
Always.
So one of the first experiences I had working in the visitor bureau happened at about 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. And someone came in and said, "What can I do?" And half of downtown's shut, right? And so my next question is, have you made dinner plans? And of course they have. And so then you're left stuttering. What do we do with people, right? And so that's how this self-guided walking tour was born. To give people things to do when it seems like there's nothing else to offer. And these fly out of our visitor bureau. And if you need them at your hotels and anywhere else, we're happy to bring them to you. How does your company train for stellar customer service, Bill?
I handle most of that.
You handle most of it, the training? So how often do you talk about customer service with your people?
And that's the whole aspect of it. I can teach somebody how to run the computers in no time. But the customer service aspect is an ongoing thing. We're
Mhm.
always working with everybody on customer service.
Is that the same for you, Josh? Josh, Jake, John, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, you can show anyone how to do anything with computers, but it's how you deal with the guests. It's an ongoing process. Because every situation is different. You have to handle this situation this way, and then you might have a curveball go, wait, how do I handle this?
Mm-hmm. God love the curveballs, right?
Yeah.
Christian, did you get thrown a curveball once or twice?
Many times.
Uh-huh.
Many times.
And how do you handle it?
I think the main thing is to just listen to what they're asking and be responsive. If you don't have the answer right at that moment, it's not always an issue. You can say, well, you know, I can get back, let me get your number, I can get back to you on this. I'll research it, I'll find out who does know. Because that's the main thing, is just listening and helping them get to their,
Yeah, sometimes people just want to be heard, huh?
yeah. Don't be waiting to talk, listen. You know, a lot of people will wait to talk, for their turn to talk.
I've listened to people for an hour before because they just needed to get it out. And there's really, until they exhaust themselves, and sometimes they can exhaust themselves quickly, and sometimes they got life they got to tell you about. And sometimes you got to listen. Are the people who need customer service training getting it? What do you think, Melissa?
I'm sorry, I was laughing over last
Oh,
thing you
okay.
said, because somebody came to the gallery once, she traveled from Charleston, and, you know, she had been talking to someone online, a dating service, and the guy, she went to visit him in Marietta, and the guy wasn't there on time to greet her because he had been washing his car at the car wash, and she.
And you know all of this.
She came in and she told me all about it at the gallery. Yes.
We get a lot of online dating hookups take place at the Visitor Bureau. I can't tell you, I've probably had 3 of them in the last year where their meeting spot is the Visitor Bureau. And they meet there for the first time, and it's real super awkward. Because, you know, you ask the question, well, what do you enjoy doing? And they both look at each other because they don't know how to answer this question. Yeah.
Oh, I know all about that.
Awkward. Awkward. Super duper awkward.
Sorry, I just still had that on my mind.
So,
I missed it.
I totally get it. Because those situations become imprinted, don't they? Yeah. We don't do as good a job of imprinting the positive stuff, but the negative stuff, it imprints and you never forget it.
Well, she ended up buying something.
See, all is well. What do they call that? Retail therapy. Retail therapy. So I'm real curious to know, because we need to provide good customer service to you, our members. And so the question becomes, what do your frontline staffs need in order to be better at customer service, to be better at working with the traveling public?
I'd say for me personally, again, I'm a little different ballgame, but a little bit of time management and a little bit of prioritizing communications. I'm a one-person office, so if you send me an email or if I miss your phone call, there's a 99% chance I'm not returning that in 5 minutes. But just making sure that I have the ability to sit down and make sure that I find a way to get them in a reasonable amount of time.
We have tried as a visitor bureau and as a customer service thing, we communicate 10 ways to Sunday, right, Shannon?
Oh, yeah. Every way but smoke signal.
And we've considered the smoke signal, trying to reach people. But, you know, whether it's a self-guided walking tour or a visitor guide, what is it that people need to be better? Or even the Iheart training, can you think of anything?
Information in general. I know I put the events on for Parkersburg, and it's like pulling teeth sometimes to get people to submit their events.
Preaching to the choir.
You guys do a very good job. I love it. I'm like, Mark, let me at him.
So let me tell you why it's important to post your events on the CVB website. Christian, how many times a day are you on our calendar?
Probably 3 at very minimum.
Right?
Usually more than that.
Do you know how many times travel writers go to our calendar to see what it is they can go and do and write about in a town? Absolutely. And when a travel writer calls Christian and they're planning for the travel writer to do a visit in a month, and you don't have your event or opportunity listed on the calendar, then we're missing an opportunity to communicate to travel writers about what is going on in the area. The calendar is so important, such a selling tool for us. When we're doing advertising and we're looking at when an ad is going to drop, we're looking at the calendar, what things are going on that would draw people in. And let me tell you a real challenge for us, and this is so important. If you don't have your 2016 dates figured out yet, you're missing an opportunity with group tours right now. Because they're not planning 2015. Their books are done in July. So by July of this year, they will have already planned their 2016 year and how they're going to market it to their clientele. Seriously. And so if you want to help us help you, especially if you have these dates every year, go put them on the calendar for the next 3 years. You're only doing all of us a huge favor, okay, in the planning process. I go to another group tour show in June, and we will absolutely be talking about what's going on in 2016, and they'll start asking about what will be new for 2017. Seriously. Right, Shannon? Yeah. Real challenge. As an industry, what do we need to do better to be better at customer service? Any ideas? Samantha, was that a hand? Samantha?
Yeah.
Okay. She won't lift up another paper for the rest of the day.
Just listening, really, I think is really the best tool you have as a person who is speaking to the public, because as long as you listen, you'll always know what is needed. And then people just want to be heard. It's here, that's really all they want. It's like, if you give them that time to be heard, they might be fine. If you can't help them with that problem, or if the answer you have might not be the greatest at that point, sometimes that's the customer service. This person listened to what I had to say. I liked that.
Gotcha.
I think, like you said earlier, connecting the assets is a major key. I know in Parkersburg we tend to struggle a bit with that. And, you know, I see little bits glimmering of, you know, with hope of that, and makes me feel good, but then it's like, okay, that it kind of comes and goes. And so I really envy that with Marietta. I mean, it looks like it does pretty well with the cross sales.
And we can be better, right? I totally think we can be better. And so we have a fantastic relationship with the Greater Parkersburg CVB, and we work very closely with them. In your book that you got is an outdoor recreation guide. First time ever, the two CVBs worked together to create an outdoor recreation guide of both sides of the river. Okay, and the whole point of it was to connect the assets. If people are here to kayak and bike, where do you send them? As a hotel, do you have a clue? And that's in that outdoor visitor guide for you, okay? Because there's tons of stuff. Camping. We get tons of questions about camping. Do you know where the campgrounds are in the county? Going through the locks and dams. People have tons of questions about what it's like to go through the locks and dams. These are all things that we're going to learn. You'll learn that stuff, especially in the third Iheart training, the outdoor stuff. But connecting the dots has become very important for us at the CVB. We know, if you flip open your visitor guide, the top 10 things that people do should be in the center, right, Nathan? I think?
It is.
Not the state one,
It is the guide.
the getaway guide, the Marietta, Washington County one.
Good picture on that.
I like that.
Okay, the number one thing people do when they come to a town is what? Eat. And what's the one thing all of us would probably eat?
Hamburger.
A burger. Right? So listed there are I think it's in your center folder, the top 10 things that people do when they come to Marietta, Washington County. Does any of that surprise you?
I like this, if you put that in.
Thank you. Again, just trying to connect the dots for the traveler. We know they're gonna like to eat, but people who eat also like to do other things when they come to town. What are those other things? And we're gonna get a little deeper with connecting the dots, Parkersburg and I, because I think it goes beyond just the physical asset. I think it goes to, we have some stories here to tell that nobody else can tell. Who else can tell the Aaron Burr and the Harmon Blennerhassett story better than us? And it's on both sides of the river. Who can tell ancient earthwork stories better than us? It's on both sides of the river. Underground Railroad. We have a story to tell, and it's on both sides of the river. And so what we're going to try and do as CVBs is create product that helps people connect the dots of a story rather than the dots of assets. Get them intrigued by what is so fascinating about going to Blennerhassett Island. It's not just that there's this huge white house sitting on the island. There is an incredible story there. And it actually starts over in Marietta on top of a mound. Did you know? But it did. So that's what kind of things we're going to be doing. Hopefully help make our job easier, help make your job easier. We're going to take a real quick break. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
With the group tours, when do most of those take place?
Primarily in the summer months, in those travel season months, wouldn't you say, Shannon?
Yeah, I mean, it varies, but the majority of them's like May through August, give or take.
Yeah, there's some outliers there. What you have to know is that group tour operators are traveling from group tour show to group tour show January through March. And so then they usually start hitting the road around April-ish with their actual, yes. But they're at group tour shows learning from destinations what's new. And that is the first question you get asked every time you sit down in front of a group tour operator. What's new in your town?
So if you're going to look at trying to have something definite planned, you'd be looking at May through August of 2016.
Yes. Ish.
Yeah, now almost 17.
You're killing Melissa.
Yeah, we don't.
And we're really trying to get better as a visitor bureau at communicating that back to you all, the member. Making sure that you understand our cycle of business and when we need to have information by. And so you're going to see us continue to really hit that home with our members, especially if you're group tour friendly, and trying to think about your 2016 calendar. Do you have it ready to go? Because here, the second week of June, I'm going to Oklahoma to an invitation-only group tour show, which guarantees me visits. But I gotta have something to sell. And it'll have to be in 2016. So what are we going to sell? Right? Hopefully it's People's Bank Theater. Hopefully there's a lot of that ready to go come June, because there's a difference between a pull attraction and a push attraction. A pull attraction will bring someone in. Once you get them here, you can push them to other things. A lot of times, by the time a group tour operator contacts Shannon, they have heard about a pull attraction. We want to go to Blennerhassett Island. We want to go to the Valley Gem. Right?
Yeah.
And then they'll say, but we also need a place to stay and we need to fill in. Or they may have already planned that they're going to do Henderson Hall and Campus Martius and the Castle, but I need a filler before dinner. What can I do before dinner? And they're looking for, something that's maybe an hour to do. And so that's the kind of things we help them with. And I would say this too, that you don't have to have it all figured out. If there are standard things that you offer, then we can put that in a promotional piece to the group tour and say, here are the offerings at this place, and each one of these costs X amount of dollars for your group tour. The price per person is X amount of dollars. Who's depending on you to be good at your job? Gosh. Did you hear her?
That's a good question.
Well,
Yeah.
co-workers, we have 13 to 15 people at the gallery. It's a co-op. We take turns working there. Communication is really difficult because there's no manager. So that we have monthly meetings and, find out what everyone's done wrong.
Yeah. Sarah, who's dependent on you to be good at your job?
Anybody who comes on our tour, anybody who wants information, and Lynn, because we help her out. And
Lynn's depending on you to be good at your job. Bill, who's dependent on you to be good at your job?
My owner, my employees, my guests.
Jerry?
Yes.
Since I'm supported by the bed tax, right? I depend on you guys to be good at your job, and I need to be good for you guys, right? We need each other. Denny, who depends on you to be good at your job?
Well, I think it's a complete circle, where it's affecting everyone. But I think, number one, to be good at your job as a customer, as well as your business itself. So I just think it makes a complete circle.
It does, doesn't it? And the one thing that I keep coming back to over and over again since I took this job, there's a lot of small businesses that depend on us to be good at our job. You're not talking about a lot of big franchises that are depending on me, us. It's a lot of our neighbors, the people that we see at the soccer fields or at the church or out at the Merchants and Artists Walk. They're depending on us to be good at our job. And sometimes it can make the difference when you send someone to the Riverside Artist Gallery. It could make a difference in them making their numbers for the day, right? It can make all the difference in the world because one customer was sent in. And to small businesses, that one customer really matters. So I always try to keep in mind the small businesses in Marietta and Washington County because I think they're really depending on us to be good at what we do in promoting the area. And I think what's really super cool about what we do is that our return visitation rate is really high. What if I told you that 27% of the people who come to Marietta have been here 10 or more times? That's almost a third of the people. So another question I have is, once you've sent them to Campus Martius, and once you've sent them to the brewery, and they're here for their third, fourth, or fifth time, what's new? How do you keep them coming back and enjoying Marietta and Washington County? And the reason why I feel that the Iheart customer service training is so important, and one thing that I think makes a huge difference in whether or not you're good at customer service, is your understanding of the product that's available. If you understand what's available, then it's easier to push people out, right? What if I told you tourism in Ohio is the 4th largest private sector industry in the state of Ohio? It is a $38 billion a year industry that we are a part of. So I included the state travel guide because...
Sorry. Had a message, pushed the wrong button.
Life's good, isn't it? $38 billion a year industry that we're a part of. And what we find real important at the Visitor Bureau is connecting people to assets along the I-77 corridor. We do not try to just sell Marietta. We try to sell Canton. We try to sell Amish Country, Pro Football Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We try to sell those things south of us, you know, the Clay Center, the Tamarack, Winter Place. We try to sell everything along the I-77 corridor because we have the luxury of being in the middle of that and being able to shoot people out and bring them back and shoot people out and bring them back, or to catch them on their way to something. The rule of thumb when someone says to me, oh yeah, I've been through there before, no, you have to stop because we're cool. 404,000 jobs. You're a part of an industry that has 404,000 jobs in this state. In Washington County, tourism is a $220 million a year industry. Is that surprising? A little bigger maybe than you thought it was? It supports more than 2,087 jobs. And I can tell you, this has really gone up, right? How do we know it's gone up? Well, we got 2 new hotels, three new hotels than we had 4 years ago when we started, 250 plus more rooms. That's brought just about 60 more employees into our tourism industry than was here 4 years ago when I started. Just in hotels. And we got restaurants coming, and we have, in 4 years, we've seen the Adventure Company open its storefront. We've seen Segway Tours open up. We see expansions of things like in the Ghost Trek and new offerings that they have. But what I think is critically important is that people come here on purpose. They purpose their day. Oh, let's go to Marietta. And I think sometimes as locals, we forget, right? That this is a pretty cool place we live in. And there's wonderful things to do. And people love coming here, and we know this because, my gosh, they come over and over and over again. They come here on purpose. And so doesn't that deserve our best quality customer service too? That they chose this as a place to get away from it all for a weekend or a day. So who is your customer? Define your customer.
Well, the local customers usually tend to be on the older side. The people that are traveling are, it could be anybody, any, families, couples, and it's really wide open.
Okay, Sarah, who goes to Ghost Trek?
You'd be surprised. We've had bus tours of senior citizens come. We've had people with young kids come. We've had groups. Last summer, we had a bachelorette party come on our tour because she loved it, and that's what they did for her bachelorette party. So we have, we try to limit younger kids because it's dark. It's a lot of, uneven ground and things, but we don't say no, they can't come. So we have the whole genre of people come.
What about Campus Martius? Who is your typical customer?
Typical customer is somebody traveling, really. Usually they're from all over, and they've read about it somewhere, or they've going through for some reason. Locals come in and they seem surprised. They came as children in school, but they hadn't been back, and they're very surprised at what all we do actually have and incorporate into the museum.
Gail?
Mm-hmm.
It's only taken me an hour and a half. So I think Gail brings up a really good point. When's the last time you've been in Campus Martius Museum? Have you been in the last year? Have you been in the last 2? Have you been in the last 4 or 5?
Oh, and it's always changing. I mean, we have programs and the exhibits change, and I said it always moves. It's wonderful, yeah.
Yeah, you as a local in the community, it's so important to visit your local treasures, your local gems like that, because they're so important to our community. And if you haven't been there in the last 5 years, first of all, you really can't talk to the traveling public about it. Because do you know that there's a Civil War display going on? Do you know they have the murals, and that both of those exhibits are coming down at the end of this year?
Yeah.
And that there's new exhibits coming up? I mean, people have this last season to go in and see these 2 very extraordinary exhibits that are going on in the museum right now. And then if we start talking about connecting storylines and there's a gazillion different storylines embedded within Campus Martius, but that's a big topic of conversation. Who is your customer, Mona?
Ours are tours, and that would be families and nursing homes, and then we do so many school tours. And then also, see, we have the scented gardens, so we have garden clubs come to that. The school tours are all guided tours through the corn maze, and then we're open to the public on the weekends. So ours is a lot of families, birthday parties, weddings, and we have never thought of having weddings. But you know, every week I do mow and keep everything neat at the farm, and I might have to clean out some buildings as far as making sure they're very clean. But it's just been a wonderful experience for us. So families and repeats.
I had my grandsons out at the farm doing the corn maze last fall, and we had been out in the dark in the corn maze for probably an hour, and all of a sudden my 4-year-old grandson yells, "I found corn!" It was a priceless moment.
Well, what is so neat that once people's things that we don't think about, once they're outside and there's some stars, and for the moonlight maze, they're welcome to rent flashlights or bring their own. But after they're out there for a while, their eyes dilate and they can see.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we do have the schools over there with the soccer lights and everything. But we don't have people get lost. And then, you know, like we're saying, everything is not perfect with our business. Last year, we had a dry spell right when we planted the corn, and our corn was not that high some places. And you know what? The people did not complain. I was really surprised.
It doesn't matter in the dark.
they didn't. And then, of course, we have the pumpkin patch. And people, I mean, their dad, the kids pick out the pumpkin, and I mean, it might weigh 90 pounds, because some are yay big. And we have wagons that they can bring them in, but still a lot of those dads pick up that pumpkin, put it on their shoulders, they take all kind of pictures. So it's just a family affair, and then of course I've mentioned earlier that we do the pig races, and we have the goat on the mountain where the goats go up. And so it's just a family thing. Oh, and
Right.
something new we started, we put down the times for the pig races, so people really do pay attention, because when it's like 1:30 or 2:30 or whatever, they're right up there ready for the pig race. Of course, that part is free. But we also have a nice 1/2 hour hay ride, and it goes up on the hill, and they talk about the cows and where milk comes from and all those things, and meat and that, and it's really a teaching experience even on the weekends.
So just a fabulous experience out at Sweet Apple Farm, of course. So I hope what I've been able to relay to you is the importance of travel and tourism in our local community, and some of the numbers behind it, and who's depending on us to be good. But again, if I were to ask the question, what is there to do right now? You've got someone standing in front of you right now. What are you going to tell them to go do? It's tricky, right? We deal with this every day, right, Tori?
Yes.
Front line, it's real tricky. Depends on it's 10:30 on a Tuesday. What can you do at 10:30 on a Tuesday? Because I'm standing in front of you right now on this icky March day, 10:30 on a Tuesday. What can you go do right now?
Is the museum open?
Is the museum open? Not on Tuesday.
Let's see.
I'd ask if they like antiques, and
That
tell
would
them
be
about the
good.
antique shops, and say they can go over the walking bridge to Harmer.
Right.
And there's a great restaurant that you might want to stop at, the brewery.
Right.
But on
You got to be careful when you send people to Harmer, because what's open in Harmer at 10:30 on a Tuesday, Shannon?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Maybe Chuck.
Oh,
Chuck's closed on
Chuck's
Tuesdays.
closed on Tuesday,
Yeah.
right?
Walking tour.
Walking
I mean,
tour.
you can walk the bridge, but that's about it.
Walking tour, right? Yeah, driving tours. You'll see on the top 10 list, people love scenic driving in Marietta and Washington County. So now you've got your walking tours and you've got your scenic driving tours, right? When in doubt, these are options. Shopping downtown on a Tuesday is relatively safe, right?
And we do have wonderful shops on Front Street. We
And
really
Second,
do.
Second has really
Yes.
grown. Putnam is in this nice growing phase because Putnam has new coffee shop opening up and, you know, the People's Bank Theater. So, yeah. Well, the last thing we're going to go over today is a little bit of arts and entertainment. I have Kevin Pasquich with Pasquich Entertainment. This is a new company in our town, and he's going to help us learn what some of the arts and culture type things, entertainment type things there are for people to do when they visit. Kevin, it's all yours.
Okay. Grab my cheat sheets here. I think everybody should have them as well. Really quick, I'll introduce myself. As Jerry said, my name is Kevin Pasquich. I'm the co-owner of Pasquich Entertainment, which actually owes part of its existence to Jerry, who asked me to help out with a couple of projects last year, and that led to other people in the community coming up and saying, hey, we have this question, and it kind of grew very organically from there. My background is actually in company management, a company being a theater company, a degree in theater from Marietta College. And I have a question from everyone here. Who here has either grown up in Marietta or lived here, say, 20 plus years? Raise your hand. All right. Oh, wow. Quite a few people. All right, cool. I came here in 1994. I was 12 years old. There was nothing to do. I mean, especially for a 12-year-old. But from where I came from was a very Appalachian culture. It was actually in upstate New York in the mountains. And I came to Marietta and there was nothing to do. And now I sit here 21 years later, actually next week, and I am amazed at what we have here. I don't think people have realized that Marietta has this amazing little culture that's a mix of the Midwest and a mix of the Northeast and a mix of the Southeast and a mix of Appalachia. And we really need to, I think, grab that and take it and run with it. But anyway, why I'm here. We have some really good events coming up this summer in Marietta. First one we'll take a look at, the festivals and special events, if you guys have those, because we have some really neat things here. Again, 20 years ago, I think the festival was the Sternwheel Festival. Other than the county fair, that was about it. So now, I mean, this is the top 10. I could have added a lot more. I did not add the Brews Fest because I didn't have the information on it, so no, Katie, but we'll definitely be putting that on our site as well. But I mean, starting right off, the Hidden Places, Secret Spaces. They'll be doing new stuff with that this year, I know, because we'll be working with you on that. And we'll be adding new things, and it's going to be a great event for people, right? I mean, of course, Lynn's working on it as well. So, and then the Cabela's King Cat Tournament. Again, that's going to be a great event for folks. And for the businesses downtown, obviously, I think, Jerry, you were right when you said, the wives go shopping, the kids will be out fishing, the dads will be out fishing. It's a great event. I've actually been to one of these in North Carolina several years ago. I think it was one of their super events. It was probably a little bit bigger than this one will be, but it's a great event. It's great people, and they like to spend money. Of course, the Riverfront Roar, which we all know, I think it's in its 13th year now or 14th year. And of course, a new one, that's second one. This one's very close to my heart because I'm one of the founders of it, is the Shakespeare by the River Festival. We will be June and July this year. And I'll be talking about this a little bit more in depth here in a few minutes. But the idea is we are bringing in some professional actors and some professional student actors, mixing them with our local talent. And we'll be doing free to the public shows in Muskingum Park. So it is very much, if anyone here is familiar with the Shakespeare in the Park in Central Park, New York, or in Pittsburgh or Chicago, same idea, but we're making it uniquely Marietta, and I'll explain that in a bit. So, obviously the Sweet Corn Festival, the Inland Waterways Festival, excuse me. which are both, I think, very uniquely Marietta for very obvious reasons. And then the River Trails and Ales Festival, which is probably my favorite event of the summer, personally. And then, of course, the fair, our big event, the Stern Wheel Festival, and the Merchants and Artists Walks that are, I think it's every second, is that right? Every second Friday?
Yes.
With the exception of August? So, and those are great events for people because that is where our art and culture really comes to shine. That is where we really get an idea of our artists and our performing artists because there's going to be some cool stuff there this year as well. So, these are some great events. It's a great cheat sheet, I hope, that you guys can use. So any questions on that real quick, as I'm trying to get through?
I would point out that Sternwheel Festival is the 40th annual Sternwheel Festival, which will be a big deal.
Right, because I think that's every 5th year they do the big fireworks display off the bridge now and all that. I don't know if they're planning on that this year, but.
I know that they are planning spectacular things with fireworks this
Awesome.
year.
And we have, this was a couple years ago, I had some family in from New York City that came in for Stern Wheels Festival specifically, and I think it was the 35th anniversary, so it was 5 years ago. And they said it was better than the fireworks that they do in New York on 4th of July. And they've been back since then. They were actually back, they've been back the last 2 years. So, and they're planning on again this year. So yeah, talk that up. Yes?
Also, we have a pontoon boat, so we've been able to go out the last 2 out of the last 3 years. We've gone out on a pontoon boat to watch the fireworks. I've always watched them from the shore, never, didn't think anything of it. It is another ball game to watch them from the river. It is amazing. So if somebody has a boat and you're talking to them, tell them, take it out, go see it from the water. It is amazing.
The Valley Jam
Mhm.
goes out.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I went on that, change the subject, I went on that walks trip up in Muskingum, and it is well worth it. And I don't know when they're gonna do their trip to Pittsburgh, but it is fantastic.
That's in, I believe, August. Because we're, actually my company, we're doing several projects with the Valley Gym this summer, so. That unfortunately is not one of them though. I wanted it to be. Because I love Pittsburgh. I actually lived in Pittsburgh for a couple years. Anyway, flip here, top 10 theater-related events. Oh, there's a backside to this. I thought I had 3 sheets. So anyway, the top 10 theater-related events, and I'm sorry that I left some of these special events off, but there is, 15 years ago, I think we would have had 3 things on this list, and the fact that I had to narrow it down to 10 really says something about what's happening in Marietta, and it's really great. I think all of you guys have to be excited about this, because I am. But anyway, our big event here, starting at the top, is Les Mis. Les Miserables, of course, the musical, based on the book, based on the play. And it is going to be done with the Mid-Ohio Valley Players Theater. What makes this special, what makes this a really big event, is this is a play that draws, people will come from miles around to watch a community theater event like this. We're already selling tickets for it. And plus, the community has donated over $10,000, I believe, already. We've had $10,000 in donations to the Mid-Ohio Valley Players for costumes, props, sets. We've had a professional set designer who's worked extensively in Hollywood donate his time and efforts to design and help us with a set. So it's going to be a really big event. And we're going to be sending people out. Of course, the MOVP has the dinner and a theater program, but we're going to be sending them out everywhere. And we know that that's going to be bringing people in. So if you have somebody who happens to be in town one of those weekends, they're looking for something to do, that's a big event. And we're going to try and make sure that all of you guys hear it probably ad nauseum to some point. You're going to be like, oh God, is Les Mis still going on? Yeah, for one more weekend. But that'll be in April and May. The second one, I said I was going to speak more about this, Shakespeare by the River. This summer is going to be A Midsummer Night's Dream. So it'll be the end of June, the beginning of July. Again, we have some great actors, some great professional actors coming in for it that'll be playing the leads. I believe one lady is from Minneapolis, another one's from Florida, a gentleman from Florida. They're really good. And then we'll be filling it out with students from Marietta College. We have students from WVU that'll be coming in for the summer. And also our local actors. I believe there's 10 local actors Our Rude Mechanicals, if anyone, is anyone familiar with Midsummer Night's Dream in here? Okay, a couple people, half, I see that, halfway. So, okay, well, if you know the play, then you know the Rude Mechanicals. Well, the Rude Mechanicals is actually my acting troupe, the troupe that we formed. So they will be doing companion events with just the Mechanicals. And they're really great actors. But the reason for this is it's a completely free event. So if you have someone who's just in town, a business traveler who's looking for an alternate event, or people who just roll in and they're just staying the night, I'll say, hey, Shakespeare Festival downtown, here's the park, here's the way to get there. It's free. We had last year, we were expecting maybe a 30-person average per show. We averaged over 100. Like we considered it, we were going to consider it a success if we had 25 to 30 people average. We averaged 100, and our biggest one was 211 people. They came out in chairs. They brought their own chairs, they brought their own coolers. So it's a really big event. We even had people from as far away as Littleton, Colorado, and Northern California come in. And one of them even, it was an older couple, they actually said, we like it so much here, they went and they picked up a real estate brochure. So it's a really fun event. It's something that's uniquely Marietta. We theme it. This year it looks like, we haven't decided yet on this, we haven't signed off on it, but it looks like the theme, of course Shakespeare, the idea in theater is that you can put Shakespeare anywhere. They've done Shakespeare on the moon, I'm not kidding. And this year the theme to it is actually going to be Riverboat era, by the looks of it. So we do try and theme these to Marietta. We try and make them uniquely Marietta. Moving on, Steel Magnolias in June. Of course, it's a very well-known play.
10 minutes.
Okay, thank you. It's a very well-known play. Again, the Mid-Ohio Valley Players. It's a good event to send people off. It's very cheap tickets. I think the tickets are $11 for adults. So we skip down. Now this one is my favorite. These are my favorites coming up. Murder and Mayhem in Marietta is actually a murder mystery dinner theater event that's going to be aboard the Valley Gem. My company is producing it. It's going to be, as far as we can tell, the first time dinner theater has been done on the river since, unfortunately, the Becky Thatcher floated away. So we're really excited about that. It's had a really good response. Of course, with our company, we try and theme everything to Marietta, or the region. Not necessarily Marietta, but we try and keep everything local. We want to inform people about it. We want to have fun with it. Going further down, Real Girls Can't Win is it's a dramatic play, I believe. It's what the director told me last night. That's going to be at Marietta College, which the theater at Marietta College, again, for anyone, is a really great resource. If you know the show dates for their regular season, which runs September to April, a lot of very good plays, a lot of really good production quality in the shows, and it's also a very cheap. If you've got a traveler or somebody standing in your business that's looking for something to do that's not that expensive, but still good quality, Marietta College has that. Their theater department, I think, is very underutilized, and they've just gone through some big renovations there to make the space better. Evil Dead the Musical in October. This one's going to be fun. This one, it's a very campy. It has a draw similar to, anyone know the Rocky Horror Picture Show? All right, you know that draw that it gets when you hear about a midnight matinee? This is a very similar show. This is probably the 2000s, the new 21st century equivalent to Rocky Horror. And it'll be coming in. It's a very high energy, campy show, and we're hoping that people will travel for this show. I had friends that went and saw a community theater production of it in southern West Virginia from Cleveland, because it was the closest place playing and they wanted to see it. So we're hoping that we can get that draw in as well. The Totally Truncated History of Marietta is another one of our events for Pasquich Entertainment this summer. Be aboard the Valley Gem. We're going to take elements of it, though, and bring it out into the community for you guys, which is what I'll explain here in a second. and it is a vaudeville style, high energy comedy based on the history of Marietta. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and which leads me into my next one, which is Street Corner Vaudeville, which is one of our projects that will be coming to the festivals downtown this summer. The idea is we're taking the old vaudeville performance style, that high comedy, if anyone here is familiar with it, and we're going to be throwing it on the street corner. We're going to be making it compact and ready to go so we can just show up at a festival on a street corner, give a 10-minute show, roll on down the street, do it 20 minutes later at another location. So the idea is that we can get people downtown and we can move them around town. So hopefully it'll work. I see Katie's sitting here like, yeah, I hope it works too. So, all right. And then, of course, Hidden Marietta and Ghost Treks. That's always a good event for people if you're trying to get them out, if you're trying to get them downtown. It's hard to find people who don't like these things. I love it when we went. So that's another really good thing to get people downtown. And it is something that is in its own way very uniquely Marietta. I've done Ghost Treks in other locations. I can tell you that they don't put the time and effort into it that Hidden Marietta does. So, and I think that is the biggest thing. You can go to a Ghost Trek in Pittsburgh, awesome. But you will not get the information and you will not get the attention that Hidden Marietta does and the Ghost Treks do here. So that is a very big thing for me. And of course, the last one is the big one. The opening of the People's Bank Theater, which I talked to Hunt Brawley, and it's still on tap for December 2015. So they said construction's moving right along, everything looks good, and we will have, hopefully, the operational People's Bank Theater will have its first event in January. And I know that right now their tentative plan is to have 100 dates in 2015 or 2016. So that's, break that down. That's 2 events a week for you guys that we're hoping will bring in large groups of people that are going to be marketed not just to the region but out of region as well. So very last quick, talk about this, the top 10 music and unique entertainment events in Marietta. And this is, again, 10 years ago, I would have had trouble filling out 10. I literally, just up until July, had trouble getting 10 that were decent. Well, not decent, 10 that fit, and I had a very large pool to draw from. So these are just some of the artists, where they will be performing, when they will be performing. Of course, Anthony Mossberg, very good indie artist. I did mention to Vinyl and Game Night, because that doesn't, anyone here like playing board games? I do. I'm going down there for that. I will hopefully see you guys on Friday. Of course, the Clarks, which has a very big following. It's a band that has a very big following out of Pittsburgh region. They have had some sort of mainstream success, but they're very well known in this region, and they will probably have a good draw, which hopefully all of you guys will be seeing folks for them. Of course, Colton Pack, who is a regional artist who I believe he was on the X Factor. David Lee Murphy. Brooke Hogan, who's is Hulk Hogan's daughter, who's apparently a singer. She will be at the Adelphia. Of course, Vinny and the Lubricators, which is Vinny and the Lubricators and the Bash, who I think are probably 2 of the better local acts that will bring people out and get people moving. So if somebody wants a taste of what Marietta is in music, I'd say there's no better music ambassador than Vinny Melly, that he will set them straight, send them there for that. Of course, we have trivia nights, the Townhouse and the Brewing Company. The Adelphia, it will be restarting them soon. I don't know when. But again, that's a great event, especially for business travelers. If they're in town, they're looking for something to do that may be a little bit different than just going out to dinner. Say, hey, you know what? The Brewing Company has trivia, or the Townhouse has trivia. And those are really big. I know they're really big draws. I go.
They're packed.
Yes, they are packed. We have to go in at 6 o'clock to get dinner for an 8 o'clock event. So otherwise you don't get a seat. So those are, and this is just a sampling, guys. I encourage you to go to like the Galley website, the Galley Adelphia website. Valley Gem website, of course, the CVB website, because I think they have everything. The Colony website, because we have all of these great events that are really geared towards just about everybody. And the more that, as frontline people, that we can get that information and be able to disseminate it to travelers, the better. Because I'm part of my business, I'm trying to draw people in, I'm trying to give them something new to come in, but it's up to everybody to kind of be a part of that. Because as soon as they're done watching a show, we're going to say, hey, go down to the Brewing Company for a drink. Hey, where are you staying? You don't have a hotel room yet? All right. So, and like I said, there's just too many options. So
I'm going to put a plug into the
Yeah.
hoteliers in the room that you have 3 pages of things going on that would make great packages. And travelers love packages. And if you'll create a package, I'll promote it. I promise you that.
So, any questions?
Well, that, or can you make one of the cards like that you put at my museum for people to pick up and take when they go? Because they come in and they go through my rack, I know, and look for things.
We have an events card put together. It doesn't have some of the information that Kevin has, because Kevin's brought a lot of new information today.
I'll try to copy this and keep it at the desk, but yeah, they don't always ask me, they just look.
Right. Well, we'll be sure to pass those 3 pieces of information on to you. We can probably get that to you in a couple of different formats.
Okay.
All right, so no questions, comments, concerns? It's good that no one has concerns. I'll turn it back over to you.
Sounds very good.
And that's the abbreviated version, right, Kevin?
Oh, yes, I cannot tell you, I thought that it was going to take me about 30 minutes to kind of go through all of the information and make my lists. It took me about a full 2 days to go through.
That's good.
Thank you.
Okay, so while you are filling out your survey, there's a survey in your packet. While you're filling that out, let me tell you what is going on next month at Iheart. Next month's focus is going to be on earthworks, ancient earthworks. I think we do an incredible job of telling our 1788 story. Like, we hear that over and over and over, right? Start of the Northwest Territory, 1788, we're getting ready to celebrate Marietta's birthday again. But I don't think we're as good at telling the ancient earthworks story. And we actually have a very compelling story to tell. So I'm bringing in a special speaker. His name is Bruce Lombardo, and he's with Ohio State Parks. And additionally, Lynn Sturdivant from Hidden Marietta is going to do that session. The entire session will be done in tandem. Wear walking shoes, because we are going to actually go out to the earthworks and listen to Bruce and Lynn give us lots of very good and cool information about that. And then, so 1 hour will be out in the field at the earthworks, and 1 hour will be in Campus Martius with more of a classroom type setting about the earthworks as well. The entire session will be about earthworks. Why I think this is so important is that the earthworks up in Licking and Ross counties are being considered for World Heritage status. And they believe that they are very close to being able to secure, especially the ones in Licking County, with this World Heritage status. So, yes.
I was going to say, 'cause I actually researched this.
It's a big deal.
They've been nominated, and I think according to the UN's voting rule, it'll be in June that they'll be voted on. So
They're very, very close to securing this. If this happens, this is a designation like Mount Rushmore that has World Heritage status. And what will happen is that when it raises awareness to the earthworks in Ohio, Ross and Licking counties, it's going to raise awareness about the earthworks in Marietta. And so as the travel and tourism industry, we need to be prepared to answer questions about our own earthworks right here in our own county. And what is unique and special about our earthworks is you can get right out and walk right on top of them. In so many places, you don't have that luxury. And so we're going to go out in the field, and then we'll be in the classroom, and the diorama at Campus Martius will start there. That's where we'll start at the next Iheart, and then we'll take a trip. I will have a van to transport us between the locations, but once we get there, you will want to make sure that you have walking shoes on. Okay? Okay, any last questions for today? Okay, if you did not turn in an application, please make sure that you see Tori, because I need to make sure that I have your contact information so that we can continue communicating with you across the next month. Sound good? And then make sure when you go to see Tori that you drop off your reference or survey, your survey form. I have yours. I know I have yours.
Okay. My daughter is our, she plans all of our activities and does all of our booking, and she does great. She's wonderful.
I'm partial to Mona and her family because her son hired me. Okay, Denny, have anything you want to add for the good of the cause?
No, but I think this has been wonderful.
Thank you. Gail, have anything you'd like to add?
I think it's very good. The only thing I would add is I have asked Shannon, because she's been in and out of the museum when I'm there. I would love to see some type of a listing of the restaurants, especially those that are only open for select hours, so that when I refer people to go to local establishments, which I'm talking about, I don't tell them to go at 3 o'clock when the 3rd Street Deli's closed.
Okay.
And that's the only one that I'm kind of got a definite time period in my head.
Gail, you be on the lookout. I'll make sure that happens. Okay?
Okay,
Katie,
thank you.
anything for the good of the cause?
I think I've got some good information. I've decided I needed to establish a savings account for babysitters for this summer.
Courtney, anything from you for the good of the cause?
I think so.
All right, Cindy,
Not offhand.
anything going on in Parkersburg this weekend?
Oh, goodness. I have been so swamped with getting a couple of other tasks done. I haven't really stopped to think what is going on and what day I'm on at this point.
I know, right?
I woke up yesterday and said, is it Friday?
Samantha, I'm practicing everyone's names if you haven't figured this out. Nothing? Okay. Josh? Mona? You good?
No, just get ready to bring your family out on Mother's Day. Sweet Apple Farm.
Bill, anything for the good of the cause?
This has been great. I'm just getting into the area, and so I'm still trying to find out what's going on down here.
Sarah?
I think it's been good because then I know some more things coming up, like with his list, we can make sure that the guides have that for our tours this summer.
And Melissa, anything?
Well, the Riverside Artist Gallery has workshops periodically and classes. Their the information's on their Facebook, and they have a website that's under construction right now.
Okay. And Gail?
The March 28th, there is a mystery dinner at the museum.
There is a mystery dinner.
There is a mystery dinner at the museum on March 28th, if you're
It's actually
interested.
out at the Marietta Country Club.
Well, they're who's catering it, yeah.
Yeah. And
it's there.
the event is at the country club, yeah. Cindy?
Great Gatsby is going on this week. That is probably the bigger event they're running at this time.
At the Smoot?
They have a variety
Oh,
of
I thought
activities
that's
throughout the week.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Kevin?
okay, we don't know.
I just want to thank all you guys
Why did you
for
mention?
being here. I think it's really exciting. I think it's going to be a really exciting summer in Marietta, and I think it's going to lead to better things down the line. So just stick together. If any of you ever need to get a hold of me, our website is paskeyentertainment.com, because Paskowitz Entertainment was even worse. And email me, please. I will try and work with every single one of you, because it's, like Lynn said, it's all community together. So.
Another
Like
thing,
when?
or Lynn, I'm sorry, Jerry. I need more coffee.
Anything but honey.
Marietta also, in other ways, I'm a master gardener, and many of them are volunteering for America in Bloom, and we have many things added, different sites at the entrances to the city of Marietta and so on. And so I think that we're going to see much more beauty, because they said when they started this that they're going to start on Front Street and go all the way through town. So it's just going to be more beautiful everywhere for all your artist walks, and also for anything else that's going on as far as beauty and flowers and so on.
Okay, and then the last thing I want to leave you with is that I absolutely appreciate Gail and your comment about dining. And I would ask all of you, and I'm sincere about this, whatever tools you need to be better that this CVB can help provide, we will in earnest find a way to get you what you need. And so I hear your request, and I promise you that we'll make that happen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because I don't want to steer them wrong, and I said that they are enjoying Marietta.
And you know, it's been on our radar, and it's been something that has been on the drawing board. We just haven't made it happen, but we will make it happen. You have my word on it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I've told you this before, but I love these scenic driving routes. I've already sent some out of town.
And the truth be told about those scenic driving routes, that top 10 list, scenic driving comes up 3 times in the top 10 technically. People just say it in different ways. So if I were to do that top 10 strictly by the research, 3 times scenic driving would come up. So that's how much people love going out. They like the Ohio River Scenic Byway, they like the Covered Bridge Byway, and they just like getting out on those roads and driving. So it comes up 3 times in the top 10.
I have one more. I forgot to mention this. Something that they're doing with the Shakespeare Festival this year. We are going to have some really unique acts opening for us to warm up the audience. So that's something else that you get to come out for free that you might otherwise have to pay for. We're hoping to have the Burning Dawn, which is a fire show, do pre-show for us, as well as Professor Bubblemaker. If any of you know him, his Professor Bubblemaker and his whimsical attractions or whimsical entertainment, I'm not sure what he's called, but so that's something else this year as well for the Shakespeare that we're going to try and do is have some varied warm-up acts that also will be free to the public.
Okay. Splitsville.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, I have posters up here for Cabela's King Cat if you want one to hang in your establishment.